Well, we're back and ready for some more. Today, I'm going to show you how to not get bent out of shape. You know what I like to do? I like to save money. Unless you like to make it rain, that's okay. Some people have more than others. I'm not hating. But you save the money, you don't want to buy another one. So let's not purchase another one. Unless you want to, man. If you have 10 mowers, shoot, you can mow the whole lawn in one foul swoop. That's cool. Good for you, bro. Jealous. Anyways, today I'm going to show you how to fix your front wheel drive self-propelled. If it's actually going, the motor's running, but the wheels aren't turning, this is going to be a method to fix that. Because the gears aren't meshing with the inside gear of the wheel itself. Also, this will make it easier to push. This is going to fix your lawnmower wheel alignment, amongst other things. I'm going to show you many tricks of how to bend parts of your lawnmower back to where they should be. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. Help a brother out. Alright, let's get to the first project here. So, if your wheels are dilapidated, they're like pointing inwards, and they're even maybe hitting the bar so they won't turn at all, or it's just real hard to push, you're going to take that wheel off and remove it. So what you can use is the back end of a crescent wrench, the hole right there, and put it on and then crank it out. What I'm going to use to show you how this could happen, since I don't have a crescent wrench on hand, I'm going to go ahead and use a vice grip. Shoot, don't even have my, yep, got my vice grip. So here's my vice grip. You can use one of these as well. The reason I would use the crescent wrench before the vice grip is because I'm going to put just little lines on the axle itself. It ain't going to hurt anything. It's a plastic wheel. Okay, so I'll take the vice grip. I'll probably just go from this end right here and then crank it outward, or whichever direction that your wheel is pointing, you want to go the other direction with it. So you'll take this and you'll just crank it outward, and you're going to bend. So I'll just go ahead and bend this one just a tad to show you that it can be manipulated in such a way. Oh baby. Now I have this on the bench here, so it's a little harder on the floor to be, but to get the right position so that you guys can see what's happening. Oh yeah. So you're going to be bending this and then putting the wheel back on to see what kind of change was made. Alright. Now I pointed mine a little bit outwards, so that I can correct that now by taking it back off, taking your tool, now bend it up, maybe tighten up my vice grip here, and right off on the outside there, and then bend it inwards. Gonna put a lot of weight on it, whatever's required to bend it back. Alright, clean it up, put that wheel back on. There you go. So like I said, your best method is probably going to be to get that back into the crescent wrench and then crank with that, or you can even use a ratchet piece or a pull. Pull works good as well to bend that back, and then these won't be hitting that bar right here. That happens a lot on the larger wheels, that they'll point inwards. Okay, and then the front wheel here, on the front wheel drive, you have a gear that has to mesh with the inside gear of that wheel, right? Well, what'll happen is if this wheel is bent in any way, it won't mesh against that gear anymore. So you're going to want to use that same action, taking a pull or whatever it takes, the axle, you're going to bend the axle towards the front wheel drive gear to help it mesh, and then it'll help it turn. Now on the front wheel drive gears, the wheel's plastic. So look at the inside cog of that plastic wheel and see that it isn't already stripped, because if it's already stripped, it's not going to work. I mean, just get yourself a new pair of wheels, or maybe 15, 20 bucks each, and then that'll work perfectly for you. Next, I want to get to a bent bar. So here is the bar for this mower. Now these, everybody usually wants to, you know, when you're done with your project, you want to get done, and then they throw it in the back of the vehicle, whatever happens. And so what'll happen is they don't release this all the way, and then they'll try to shove it down, and what that'll do is that'll flatten this out. See this? Take it off here. I'll show you. That is supposed to look taco shaped. It's supposed to be like a crescent right there. If it's C-shaped, that's good. But if that is flat right here, that's going to make it so that this thing just goes back and forth. So this is a better vice grip project. Easier to fix with the vice grip on this one. If this is flat and then your handlebar is going something like this, even when these are all the way tight and these bolts are tight, you'll take it and then you'll take your vice grip and then just pinch right here, bring that down, other side, pinch it, bring it down, and then you'll get that nice C shape that'll wrap around this bar right here, so that it'll be tight. Once you tighten this nut up, it won't move back and forth like that. It's hard to push your mower when it's shanking around like that, right? Okay. All right, let's get to the brake cable. These ones have a lot of trouble too. These are bent around the bar like that, and they get moved around a lot, or they get set out in the rain. It happens. And then what'll happen is it'll rust up against the inside, because you got metal on metal inside here. And it's not 100% on this repair. It's a little harder. But if you send WD-40 down this hole right here, you're going to send your nozzle. Here, I got WD-40 right there. Can. So you're going to spray down this tube until it runs out the other end. So you're going to use quite a bit of WD-40. And then ideally, if you have a compressor, you can shoot air through it, and it'll shoot that lubricant through the tube and lubricate it real well. And then you're going to want to move this back and forth until it becomes free. And then it'll work a lot better. Now, that can't always work. These brake cables aren't that expensive. That can't be replaced easily. But hey, if you don't have to buy a new one, more power to you. All right. Now, these Hondas right here, especially on the commercial units, I know my boys are coming around the bush. They're getting through stuff. The front end of this overhead valve cover getting damaged or bent out of shape. Mine even has little dings in it, but not so much that it's hurting it. But this will get pinched in if you hit something. They even have a guard on some of them, a bar that'll come up on the commercial units so that it doesn't get punched, and then your overhead valves are dinging against on the inside of this piece. So if it's pinched inward, just take this off. It's 4 bolts right here, and then just pop it out with a hammer. Try to be careful with it, obviously, and then that'll be formed right back. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want it hitting the inside internals of the engine there. And then you want to seal it up, of course, so you're not shooting oil out the top. Use some kind of silicone sealant around the sides. Let it dry for a minute, and then put it back. All right, let's put this back in place. Good. Next project. Are you still with me? Here we go. Put it on its side. Get all dirty here. All right. Now this is for the bent shaft. If your mower is vibrating like crazy and it wants to do a dance when you turn it on. One of the reasons that could be is the blade. If your blade's been out of shape or it's not balanced right. The next reason it could be is a bent shaft. Now, this is a more difficult project. If you turn it, you're gonna turn this out, and if it turns and you don't, you see it, the shaft going like that, that's not good. Watch it as it comes up and down, and with a hammer, you can hit it and bring it back into alignment. Now, you hear some hesitation in my voice. This one is a little more difficult than the others to perform. And on these particular Honda units, I've had a professional guy come to the shop and tell me that he'd broken the sump. So he'd hit it too hard, and that bottom aluminum plate on the bottom of this engine broke. So that's what I'm telling you. Be careful. But it can be bent back into place, and you can start your engine and you won't feel the vibration. Now, I've also just replaced the shaft altogether, just so that I don't have to bend it back in place and worry about all that. But the problem is the shaft costs a little more than other parts, and you got to do complete surgery. You got to remove the engine, you got to pull the engine apart. It's a little bit of a project there. All right, and you ready for this? All right, we're gonna get to what I call slapback. Now, this is one of the hardest things to identify if you don't know what you're talking about. If you start an engine and you pull this out, and then immediately the engine tries to go backwards, and it reels back in faster than ever on the recoil. It's like shoo, bah. I call it slapback because I've had this plastic piece retract hard enough that I would have a T-shaped red mark on my arm. It looks like a tattoo. And it hurts. You know it when it happens. And it's broken these before, and this is injection molded plastic, so it's not easy to break that. But if that happens, you know that the timing isn't correct. So on your flywheel, you're going to want to inspect it. You're going to need a flywheel puller. So you're going to remove out the top and use your flywheel puller, and you're going to inspect the actual flywheel key. This can happen on Briggs & Stratton or Tecumseh units, possibly any engine. What has happened is your blade has hit something so hard that it's not broken the flywheel key, but bent it ever so slightly. So if you look at your flywheel key and it's just a little bit bent, that can cause the engine timing to go right off, and then it's trying to go backwards. So yeah, replace the flywheel key and then you'll be good to go. No more slapback. And so that one's the hardest to identify. Comment if you've seen this before, because it's also very rare. The last one is the bent blade. I spoke about it just a minute ago, but you know what? On a bent blade, you can fix it. You can pound it back. It's hardened steel, so it's a little harder to mess with, and you're probably better off replacing the blade. Of all things that you could bend, the blade will be one that if you replace it, the vibration will go away, you'll get less misses, and it'll run really well. So that's what I got for you boys. Like, comment, subscribe, and be a part of my team. Thank you. You have a blessed day.